Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are going to break down a really powerful message from Pastor Archie, and it's all about how to find some real, lasting stability, in a world that feels like it's anything but stable.
All right, so let's just dive right in. And we're going to start with a feeling I think we all know, maybe a little too well, and that's chaos.
You know that feeling, right? That constant sense that things are fluctuating, that they could just collapse at any moment. You feel it at work, you feel it with your family. Sometimes you feel it just swirling around inside your own mind, and man, it can be absolutely overwhelming.
So what we're all really looking for in those moments is stability. And Pastor Archie, he uses this great analogy of a firm, unmoving church pew. Something totally solid that isn't crumbling or falling apart. It's just steady. It's balanced. It's the exact opposite of that chaos we were just talking about.
Okay, so the big question is, how do we actually get there? How do we find that stability? Well, according to this message, the whole answer really boils down to this powerful idea, being anchored by God's peace.
The message paints this amazing picture of a stronghold, right? A safe city. But get this, these aren't just any old stone walls. No, they're described as walls made of God's salvation itself, built to protect everyone inside. It's a place of perfect safety. It's a refuge for the faithful, and it's specifically designed to keep all that chaos out.
Okay, but here's where the message makes a really, really crucial distinction. Because there's a huge difference between this place of peace being available to us and us actually experiencing that peace in our day-to-day lives.
In this slide, wow, it just lays out the core idea perfectly. See, God freely gives us this gift, this place of safety, this anchor of salvation. But, and this is the key part, to actually experience the stability, you have to make a choice. You have to choose to drop that anchor and stay put. And you do that by trusting Him.
So the question becomes, how do you actually stay inside those walls? And what's interesting is that the key isn't about working harder or trying to earn your spot. Nope, it's all about a fundamental shift in your mindset.
And this slide shows us the progression, the path to get there. It all starts with really understanding your righteousness, knowing that your standing with God is totally secure because of what Jesus did. Once you get that, it produces peace. It's a direct result. And then, that inner peace, it shows up on the outside as this quiet, steady confidence that just doesn't quit.
All right, so let's get practical. Let's look at a real-world example of what this kind of trust actually looks like in action, especially when things start to feel completely overwhelming.
So Pastor Archie shares this amazing personal story from back when he was in college. He was super worried about making rent. It was $356, and his income was barely covering it. But instead of just letting that worry consume him, he focused on this one instruction: pray about everything. And he made a shift. He went from praying out of worry to praying with thanks, trusting that the provision he needed was already taken care of. And the result? Out of nowhere, family members started sending him money that covered the need exactly.
And that right there, that's the key takeaway. The whole shift is moving from a prayer that begs God to please do something, which honestly just breeds anxiety, to a prayer that thanks Him for what you believe He's already done. See the difference? That's what anchors you in peace instead of worry. And when you start to live this way, when you're anchored in that kind of trust, the message is clear, that it produces some very real, tangible results in your everyday life. I mean, look at this. The payoff for this kind of trust is just huge. We're talking about peace that isn't just some vague, abstract feeling. No, it becomes a foundation that strengthens every single part of you. We're talking emotional resilience, loyalty, solid decision-making. It's the whole package. And that just makes so much sense, right? When you're not in a state of constant panic, you can actually think clearly. You can hear wisdom, and you can make way better choices for your job, for your marriage, for your family, all because you're operating from a place of real solidity in your soul. And this quote from Pastor Archie really just sums the whole thing up perfectly. When something's stable, you can build on it. That peace creates a stable foundation, and when you've got that, you can build a strong, incredible life right on top of it. So as we wrap this up, here is the final thought to really chew on. Pastor Archie's message presents this incredible peace as solid ground, something you can actually build your life on. So the real question for you, for all of us, is this: is your peace quicksand, or is it solid ground?
Because that solid ground is offered freely to you, but every single day we're the ones who choose where we're going to stand.